Lewis Hamilton is blasting the Mercedes team for not listening to him about the W14. As we all know by now, the Silver Arrows were off to a disappointing start to the season at the Bahrain Grand Prix. In the days that followed, Lewis Hamilton has now demanded that immediate action be taken to fix the car. If you want all the details about the back and forth between Hamilton and their engineers, you came to the right place. So let's get into today's video. Mercedes, who aimed to quickly rectify their failure to contend for the title in 2022, have had a discouraging start to the F1 2023 season. Upon crossing the finish line in 5th place at the Bahrain Grand Prix, Hamilton conveyed over the radio that there is substantial work to be done by the team. Despite this, he remains confident that they can narrow the gap not only to Red Bull, who are currently leading by a significant margin, but also to surpass Ferrari and Aston Martin, whom they were unable to outperform in Bahrain. In contrast to his optimistic message, Hamilton expressed a more critical perspective towards his team during a post-race interview with Rosanna Tennant on BBC's Checkered Flag podcast. With his extensive Formula One experience since 2007, Hamilton claimed to possess knowledge of what a car requires to perform well. Despite his guidance, Hamilton stated that the Mercedes team failed to implement his recommendations when developing the W14, and that this cannot be overlooked. He said, "Last year, I told them the issues that are with the car. Like, I've driven so many cars in my life, so I know what a car needs, I know what a car doesn't need, and I think it's really about accountability. It's about owning up and saying, yeah, you know what? We didn't listen to you. It's not where it needs to be, and we've got to work. We've got to look into the balance through the corners, look at all the weak points, and just huddle up as a team. That's what we do. We're still multi-world champions, you know? It's just they haven't got it right this time. They didn't get it right last year, but that doesn't mean we can't get it right moving forwards." During the Bahrain GP, Hamilton engaged in an exciting on-track battle with his former McLaren teammate Fernando Alonso, resulting in one of the race's highlights. However, Hamilton ended up being defeated in this encounter. Hamilton drew a comparison between the current state of the W14 and some of the cars he had during his time at McLaren, which lacked the necessary strength to contend effectively. He acknowledged that Mercedes is now in a similar position and emphasized the need for the team to collectively work towards improving the car's performance. "I enjoyed that I managed to have a couple of battles," said Lewis, "and it was close but not quite there. And I've had many cars like this, particularly in the McLaren days, and I don't know when or how we're going to do it in terms of turning it around, but it's going to have to happen." After facing setbacks at the Bahrain Grand Prix, Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott was given a revival ultimatum to improve the project. A meeting that continued until late at night was reportedly held at the factory on Wednesday. These developments followed Hamilton's recent remarks, holding the Silver Arrows bosses accountable for the car's underperformance. At the Sakir race, the team failed to keep up with the leading pace, resulting in Hamilton finishing almost a minute behind Max Verstappen. Nevertheless, the escalation of tension may come as a surprise to fans, given Mercedes' widely known no-blame policy within the organization. Following the poor performance of the W14 on its debut, Toto Wolff instructed Mercedes engineers to devise a new concept. He acknowledged that the team had taken the wrong direction and expressed doubts that the current model could contend for titles. The Austrian has since revealed that a new blueprint is already being tested in preparation for the upcoming race in Saudi Arabia. It's been done in the wind tunnel, but it's not just about the side pods or how the car looks from the outside. We have to dig into the data and decide which direction to go in. There have been speculations that Lewis Hamilton might leave Mercedes, but it is improbable that he would switch to rivals Aston Martin. Sky Sports presenter Simon Lazenby stated that he could not discount the possibility of Hamilton departing from the Silver Arrows out of his eagerness to secure an 8th championship title. Despite significant progress made by the British team for 2023, Karan Chandhok believes that a move to Aston Martin would not be on the cards for Hamilton. It should be noted that Hamilton and Alonso had a tumultuous partnership when they were teammates at McLaren in 2007. Chandhok also emphasized that it is highly improbable for team boss Lawrence Stroll to dismiss his son Lance and replace him with Hamilton. He also cautioned that the German manufacturer has only 1 month left to determine its long-term plans following a disappointing Bahrain Grand Prix. Similar to their situation last year, Mercedes began the new season struggling to keep up with the pace at the opening race. Not only were the Ferraris and Red Bulls faster, but even one of the Aston Martins outperformed them. Although the Brackley team can find some comfort in the fact that there is no porpoising, the significant gap between themselves and the leading teams persists, prompting questions about whether they will make changes to their car's design. There have been discussions that Mercedes has a B-spec version of their car ready, and the trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin has now confirmed that there will be visible changes on the way. People have tended to use the word concept when they mean the side pod design, and Toto Wolff had said recently that we are looking at a revision that is going to come along in the next few races anyway. He said in Mercedes' post-race debrief video, "Given the gap to the front, of course, we are going to look at bigger departures and more radical changes. But those changes take time to turn into a faster solution in the wind tunnel. You can't do them overnight. There is quite a lot of development that you've got to do around any sort of big change in geometry in that area. Of course, we are looking at where we can improve the car. We are looking for potential to develop, and you will see visible changes coming on the car over the next few races." According to Shovlin, the most significant takeaway from the team's performance in the opening race was that they have a lot of work to do. Following rumors of a potential concept change at Mercedes, there were also speculations about the return of former Chief Technical Officer James Allison, who is currently working with the Ineos America's Cup sailing team and away from the team's Formula One operation. That gap in qualifying was quite large. We were over half a second to the front. In the race, that was even bigger. That was compounded by the fact that when you get the tire degradation, you get a bit more sliding, the tires run hotter, and you end up finding it very difficult to keep them under any kind of control. There is a lot that we need to understand, but the key things are really getting on top of that long-run degradation, which last year was a strong point for us. Clearly, we've got something that's not in the right place that we need to work on. But ultimately, the other thing is that performance gap to the front. The raw pace of the car is not good enough. We are working very hard at the moment to understand what we can do in the short-term future and in the midterm future to try and get ourselves in a better place. So, there you have it. Changes will soon be made to the W14. The only question is, will the changes be worth it? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.